So I want to talk about progress over perfection. The thing with progress is that we make progress all the time and we don't give ourselves enough credit for it. And we may be making progress in a lot of lanes and forms of our lives and we just don't know it. We don't give ourselves credit for it. We end up even sometimes shaming ourselves for making progress in certain lanes of our lives. We don't believe that we deserve it. On the other hand, with perfection can change forms, can change faces at any point in time. Perfection can feel and look differently in 1 hour than it will the next. It is a standard that is unattainable. And I don't believe perfection is, I don't think it's really human. I think it's something that we make up in our minds and say, this is perfect. And I remember this poet coming into our poetry class in 9th grade. I think it was 9th grade. And amazing writer. And he came in and he read one of the poems that I was like, I love that poem. That poem's awesome. And he read it and I was like, this is a dope poem. And then at the end he said, yeah, I know it's in the book and it's published, but I'm still working on it. And I was like, what? What you mean you're still working on this poem? This poem was perfect. To me, it was perfect. It was sound. It was great. Point A to point B, great arc. To him, it's unfinished. When they do VFX, I remember I was talking to a friend of mine who does animation and VFX, and I saw the first Iron Man. I said, dude, I was so detailed. I'd never seen anything like that before. I think it was like I think the first one was like before 2010. I forget, so long ago. And he told me, he said, the producers just tell him to stop because you can keep making details to the flamed armor of Iron Man as long as you want. You can keep going as long as you want. But there's a point where you have to say, stop, we got it. Perfection, it's relative. It can mean entirely different things to entirely different communities, cultures, countries, whatever it may be. Perfection is something entirely different, but you can't let it get in the way of your progress when you're creating. Do not let it get in the way of your progress. And that is why when we measure ourselves, when we're creating things or when we're living our lives, you measure yourself by who you were yesterday. Are you doing better than you were yesterday? Are you being a better version of yourself than you were last year? What's that progress look like? How have you grown? How have you expanded? When we look at perfection, you may always be behind. I may always be. When I look at perfection in my own life, I'm always behind the count. I'm always, one strike away from just, hitting the bench. So for me, perfection is not a standard or a realistic bar to hold anything to ever, although it may happen. It may just creep up on me and be like, yeah, but it's not perfect though, bro. And I'm like, you're right. None of it is, throws everything off the table. But it's important to be aware of it and say, oh, look, hey guys, it's perfection. Just came to hang out. No, we're not going to hold ourselves to that. Perfection's a funny one, aren't they? And it's good to be aware of it. I'm not sitting here saying like, you lock all the doors, you make sure perfection never comes into this house. It's just, you have to be aware of it because it's gonna arrive, it's gonna show up. The same thing with anxiety, the same thing with depression sometimes. It's gonna be there. But the message I give to you is that it's important to measure yourself by how far you've come as opposed to the past version of yourself. How much have you expanded, grown, and progressed? Measure yourself by that if you can in what you're creating, as opposed to some unreal and outside of objective reality measurement that we deem perfection to be. So do not let perfection get in the way of progress. And I wish that you make leaps and bounds with progress going forward. We'll see you in the next video.